Sales of frozen burgers have plummeted following that scandal. Figures from Kantar Worldpanel, who monitor the grocery market, showed a 43% drop in the 4 weeks to the 17th of February. Sales of frozen meals also fell by 13% over that time. Taking a look at market share of the retailers in the 12 weeks to the 17th of February, of the big four supermarkets, only Sainsbury's saw an increase. Aldi and Waitrose also saw market share rise of the smaller retailers. Well, joining me now is Edward Garner. He's a director at Kantar Worldpanel. Great to have you with us. A very clear impact here, isn't there, of the scandal?
Well, it's very clear on the markets, yes, indeed. As you mentioned, burgers and ready meals, which were implicated, not only hit by consumer reaction, but the fact, of course, products being taken off shelf. So you get some very sharp sales declines there as well.
Of course, and if you look at the individual retailers, I mean, Tesco below 30% market share. The ones who haven't been affected, Waitrose, for example, they were affected slightly, but their market share at an all-time high.
Well, the thing with Tesco is that it's very tempting to sort of say, well, this is Horsegate, because they were quite early on implicated, and specifically a product which had its pack shot all over the press. But in fact, to be a bit more prosaic, what's really probably happened with Tesco is the fact that a year ago they were doing big promotions in terms of spend £40, here's a £5 coupon, which is quite a deep promotion, and that hasn't been repeated this year, so that would immediately impact sales. I mean, obviously Tesco is the biggest thing to hit, so the Horsemeat scandal does kind of perhaps attach to them, but that's unfair in a sense because the Horsemeat scandal is much bigger than Tesco. This goes internationally and outside grocery as well.
Absolutely, but categorically you can't say, can you, that it hasn't had an impact on Tesco's share?
To prove the negative at this stage is a bit tricky, but I mean, one of the other points I would make is that there's an interaction in sales whereby some of the sales from Tesco will have gone to Aldi, and yet Aldi was implicated at about the same time with some of their products also suffering from horsemeat contamination.
Iceland, an interesting one, because they were one of the few supermarket bosses to come out and actually answer media questions. They've seen a market rise, haven't they?
Yes, and that's quite interesting because, of course, they really are totally frozen food pretty well. And they're showing very smart growth. So it would imply that the total frozen food category is not affected. It's really individual markets within it.
And I suppose too early to say whether it's going to have a long-term impact.
Yes, certainly very difficult to say long term. I mean, there's been quite a bit of research around where people say, oh, well, I'm going to be going to the farmers market, butchers, that sort of thing, which is people saying what they're going to do, but I'm much more believing to say what are they actually doing. And I think that's much more important. Ignore what people say, watch what they do.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Edward, good to speak to you. Thank you.